Hey grade 7, welcome to another edition of Mr. V Teaches Math. Yesterday we looked at a topic called scale drawings, and today we're going to look at maps and scales. I wonder if last night you were wondering if I was going to look at maps at all. I very intentionally stayed away from maps because this lesson focuses more on maps and scales. And so our goal here is to be able to use scale ratios and proportions to find distances on a map. Oftentimes you'll look at a map and you'll see that somewhere on the map is a little straight line with numbers on it, and it says that it tells you the scale of the map. In our classroom, there's a map of the world. There's a big map of Canada. On those maps, there are scales, and then there are little straight lines that have specific distances on them. Okay. So here's the problem that we're going to be working with. There is a place called Oak Island, and it's off the coast of Nova Scotia. And people have been searching for pirate treasure on Oak Island for nearly 200 years, probably a little bit over 200 years at this point. And some say the Money Pit is the hiding place for Captain William Kidd's treasure. Others think that a pirate named Blackbeard buried his treasure in the pit. The map that I'm going to show you in a second is drawn to a scale of 1 to 10,000. Okay, so here is the map of Oak Island, and the photocopy didn't come out real great, but the question that we're going to be looking at is what's the distance from Underground Wharf, and this is where Underground Wharf is, right over here, and we're going to be looking at to the Money Pit, which is over here on the map. Okay, and it might be a little bit easier if I highlight these places with highlighter. So here's Underground Wharf, and here's Money Pit. Okay, and so the question then is, what's the distance from Underground Wharf to the Money Pit? Okay, that's what we're going to be looking at today. And so we're working with this scale of 1 to 10,000. And I need to get out my ruler again because I need to actually measure the distance from Underground Wharf, which is right here, to Money Pit. I should use the wrong side. So Underground Pit, or Wharf rather, to Money Pit. Which, if I mean this is kind of an average, or sorry, it's kind of an estimate, but it's roughly 10.5 centimeters. Okay, so it's going to equal 10.5 to something. Okay, I'll just make this an x. It's just a variable. It just means it's an unknown. Okay, so this shouldn't be new because we talked about this yesterday, and we talked about proportions as well. So to get from 1 to 10.5, you obviously have to multiply times 10.5. That's our scale factor, which means that we have to multiply by 10.5 as well. So if I get out my calculator and I have 10,000 times 10.5, that means that x, or my unknown, equals 105,000, or this is also 105,000 centimeters. Now, when we're talking about distances on a map like this, you need to think about what's the most appropriate answer. And sometimes, I would say almost always, it's not the most appropriate to say a distance between two places in centimeters. So if we're going to convert from centimeters, first of all, to meters, we can take 105,000 and divide it by 100, which means that it's actually 1,050 meters from Underground Wharf to Money Pit. Right? So we take that and divide it by 100. We can also take this and divide this number by 1,000, because that'll tell us how far the distance is in kilometers. Okay, so it's actually 1.05 kilometers. That's how far it is. Okay. So I'd probably say that 1.05 kilometers is probably the most appropriate answer for that. Okay, But we're using a proportion again, we're using a scale factor, we're doing measuring with a ruler to find the distance of stuff on a map, okay, to be able to find distances on a map. So in the next question that we're going to be working with, this is just some more practice, but we're going to be calculating the distance in meters from the swamp to the money pit. Okay, so the swamp, I'll get my highlighter out again, here's the map, and the swamp it's right here. It's this area right there that I just highlighted. Okay, and so we're going to have to measure. Actually, I'm going to get out the millimeters because it's going to be a little bit trickier. And so if I measure kind of from the middle of the swamp to the money pit, I get a number that's roughly 2.2 centimeters. That's on the map. Okay, that's on the map. So, again, information I need to know on my overall scale is 1 to 10,000. And actually what I can do, no, I'm going to keep it like this. I'm going to keep it like this. I was going to say, what if I just converted this number to meters, but I'm not going to do that. I'll do my conversion afterward. So I'm going to set this one up as a fraction. So I have 1 over 10,000. Remember, drawing actual, which is going to be, and then drawing, and then actual on the bottom. Now, I don't know this number, so I need to figure out what it is. Okay? So this is 1 centimeter on the map equals 10,000 centimeters in real life. This is 2.2 centimeters on the map is going to equal the actual distance. Now, to get from 1 to 2.2, scale factor actually is 2.2. It's always nice when the first number of a ratio is 1. Scale factor is the same. So when I multiply 10,000 times 2.2, I get 22,000 centimeters. And again, we think about the most appropriate answer. So I'm going to take that 22,000 centimeters and divide it by 100 centimeters, because that's going to tell me what the answer is in meters. And when I've done that division, I find out that the distance from the swamp to the money pit is 220 meters. Okay, so proportion, scale factor, find the answer, convert to the most appropriate form, whether it's kilometers or meters, and that's probably what you need to know about maps and scales to work on the practice and to maybe even get into a project.